If you're a pet sitter, the holidays provide both unique challenges and opportunities from a financial perspective, emotional perspective, and practical perspective. In this video, I'm going to talk about why this period of time is just so both amazing and also difficult in the pet sitting life, as well as give you practical suggestions for things that you can do to not just survive, but also thrive. My name is Shannon, and in addition to part-time pet sitting for the past 3.5 years as a very lucrative side gig, I am the meow me to the beautiful Katniss. She is on Instagram and TikTok if you'd like to follow along and keep up with her adventures. Cats are just something, really, honestly, animals are just something I'm extremely passionate about. So the fact that I have found a way to make money while also spending time around them, honestly, is my version of like a dream life. With that said, let's get into the video. First and foremost, let's start out with a fun one, the financial perspective. There's absolutely no doubt that the holidays are a very lucrative time to be a pet sitter. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, there's a lot of people traveling, so the demand just skyrockets. And number two, it is very common for pet sitters to charge what is basically called a holiday surcharge, which essentially means your typical rate goes up during this time period to compensate for working on a holiday and also just basic laws of supply and demand. Now, if you are a sitter on a platform like Meowtel or Rover, the platform kind of has it built in how this is handled. For example, on Meowtel, the holiday surcharge is a default 30%, which is applied to any federal holiday as well as the 3 days before it and the 3 days after it. Now, sitters do have the ability to change the 30% to something less, more, it's really up to you. On Rover, the holiday surcharge, you as the sitter designate which holidays matter to you, basically. If you select something as a holiday, you set your rate, and that rate will automatically apply to any date within a booking that includes a holiday. So let's say somebody books you for a period of time that includes Christmas. Whatever holiday surcharge you have will apply to every single day of that reservation, unless you can go in and manually change that, or you can offer a discount to kind of compensate for, if it's a very long reservation, there's a lot of non-holiday days in there. It's again up to you. If you are working as a private sitter, this does fall on your shoulders to determine a holiday surcharge. I know not everybody does them. Some people do feel awkward about it. But the bottom line is it's a very, very common practice, and it does contribute to, it does contribute to why being a pet sitter during the holidays means big money. And another little side note about this is it's also very common for clients to tip you during the holidays. I've found actually in pet sitting that it's fairly common for them to tip you even not during the holidays. I think when people find somebody that they trust that takes great care of their pet, they're very grateful for that, and they want to show the pet sitter that they care about him or her so they don't lose that person. Because believe me, as a cat owner myself, I do have somebody who watches Katniss regularly when I leave. It's funny because as much as I do pet sit and know from pet sitting that it's okay to leave and that the animals are okay and I know Katniss is in good hands, it is still not easy for me. And you best believe I'm going to cling on to this person, so I take good care of her because I don't want her to be incentivized to not work for me, to, go work for somebody else who might be treating her better. Anyway, that's a ramble. Just know that tips are very common, and they don't always come in the form of money. Sometimes gift cards, sometimes clients offer to take you out to a nice dinner, sometimes they actually give you physical presents. Okay, let's talk next about the emotional side of this. So this is actually something that I've been struggling with for the past couple of years. Working during the holidays, especially the big holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, it can be emotionally difficult. And largely this is because when you are so focused on working for all these pet sitting clients, you are likely missing out on at least some family events, particularly if you have family that's gathering out of state, because obviously you're not going to be able to leave. And therefore it puts you in this position where you feel like you have to choose between the two. And I'm just here to tell you that this has weighed on me heavily during the past 3 years of holidays, and even more so as I get more into pet sitting and get more requests. And it is just a fact. It's the nature of the beast. If you are choosing to work a holiday, in part because it's so lucrative, and in part because if you're going to pet sit, that's really what you need to have your mind open to do, because that's when a lot of the demand is. You have to come to terms emotionally with the fact that there is going to be a turn, like a counterpoint to that. There's going to be something you have to give up in order to get all of that, those jobs, that lucrative money. Another thing that's maybe not quite as common but does happen is you get a lot of guilt tripping from family and friends or people who just flat out don't understand your schedule, and particularly during the holidays because they want to drop everything last minute and go shopping, or there's a holiday party there, there's this or that, and they may not understand the reality of what you need to do, which is, leave your schedule quite open so you can be here, there, write up all the summaries, and it can be tough. It just can be tough. So I'm going to share with you some practical tips that I've kind of learned through experience that have helped me. Hopefully they will help you. And the first one, I've already kind of said it, which is if this is the path you've chosen, you have to accept that this is what it is. No job is ideal. Every job has things about it that you like, that you don't like. If you are a pet sitter, the trade-off of making a lot of money and being really in demand during holidays is that you're going to be sacrificing some stuff. I do believe that if you accept that, it makes it easier to handle. When I really struggled with it, when I wasn't quite committed to pet sitting, but I was still kind of trying to do it, and then it was interfering with some other stuff, and I was kind of like 1 foot in one world, 1 foot in another world. And I feel like not committing fully to either really caused a lot of chaos, not just for other people, but in my head mentally. And so when I accepted that if I'm choosing to pet sit, I'm really just gonna throw myself into it and accept that there's a trade-off and I will deal with that, it got easier. That said, I am not an advocate of completely giving up your personal life in order to work. And I think too, if you are doing this full-time, like running a business with employees, it's going to be a different answer than if you're somebody like me who at this point in my life, this is very much a part-time side hustle. It is lucrative, but it is part-time. I'm just simply not willing to give up all my family time in order to just pet sit as much as I possibly can. So what I've kind of come to is that I realize that every year, Thanksgiving and Christmas is really what I'm thinking about, because to me, these smaller holidays don't tend to be as big of a deal. But Thanksgiving and Christmas, I pick one, and I devote myself to, I'm staying home and I am pet sitting. And this year, that was Thanksgiving. I did not go anywhere. I was here. I took a lot of jobs. I'm actually just now recovering from that busyness. And I've also blocked off days for Christmas. And I don't quite know my plans yet, although it's likely I will travel to be with family. But the point is, I've committed to family togetherness for Christmas. And next year, I don't know, I might flip it. I might travel for Thanksgiving and commit to being here on Christmas and pet sitting. But the point being that I found that kind of splitting the difference, picking one and devoting it to pet sitting, picking another and devoting it to family helps me emotionally deal with the challenge. Another thing that worked well for me, it might have been last year or the year before, but it's just something that came up by necessity, is we chose an alternate holiday to celebrate. So my parents left for Christmas to go to a sibling's house and my family gathered there. I unfortunately had to stay here because I had not committed fully to anything and I had like 1 or 2 jobs and it was just such a mess. But we agreed to celebrate Christmas, my parents and I, when they returned. I think it was like on December 28th or something, but we treated it just like Christmas Day. It was actually really cool. And frankly, if you're just looking at it from a practical perspective, which I did not take advantage of this, but I totally could have like waited to do my shopping until the day after Christmas and saved a bunch of money too. So I think the alternative holiday perspective, while maybe it's not ideal, I actually kind of like it too, because it still allows you to celebrate that time with your loved ones. And when you're not doing stuff on peak time, it might be easier to travel, gather together, less expensive, etc. And the next tip that I have is to develop new traditions. So when I did commit to pet sitting and staying here and not traveling, and I was here for Thanksgiving and I was by myself, I wasn't really by myself because I had Katniss, and I also was watching my first sibling. Her name is Gracie. She's adorable. Basically my family's dog that I grew up with, my sister technically, and I guess then it would be Katniss's aunt, which is interesting. I basically was left to develop that day to make it something special to me. So I didn't do anything super great, but I baked a pumpkin pie in my kitchen. I watched my favorite Christmas movie. I had both animals at home with me that night. We ate dessert at an odd hour, just enjoyed together time. It is always a tradition of mine to decorate for Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. I am one of those people that cannot put up decorations until Thanksgiving is over because I just think it's disrespectful to Thanksgiving, which may sound kind of weird, and no judgment if you're different, but that's my tradition. And within this stuff, there were like little things that I did. some of which would be hard to explain. But the point is, if you are committing to pet sitting, that doesn't mean you can't create little fun traditions for yourself that help make that day special. And the final tip here is to have fun with the pets that you're watching. Holiday fun, but be mindful. Obviously, you don't want to do anything that you haven't cleared with the pet parents or that could be problematic. But it might be something as simple as bringing over a special like holiday toy and introducing them to it, taking some extra cute photos and sending it to the holiday, like to the pet parents as like a holiday gift. You could print one out and frame it. Or maybe a special holiday treat. Again, ask the parents. Do something special for that pet, because honestly, you know what made me feel better? It's when I was feeling bad about not being with my family, I was also remembering these sweet pets aren't with their families either, and what can I do to make their day better? We kind of bonded together over it. So again, sounds kind of silly, but I think these little things help make the emotional side of pet sitting during the holidays easier. Okay, and finally, the practical side of pet sitting during the holidays. This one is all about the importance and the necessity of taking care of yourself. The reality is, it is a busy time. The reality is, you will be running here to there, and it's not like the typical 9 to 5 schedule. I mean, you could be all over the city, you could be facing stuff like weather challenges and last minute schedule changes and or actual emergencies like a pet gets sick and it's harder to get a hold of a vet. So you just don't know what the day is going to look like. It is essential that you maintain a good energy level, that you sleep well, that you're eating properly, and exercising regularly. I will never, ever advocate for anything that doesn't allow you time to take care of yourself. I think it is essential. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anybody else, and that includes pets. So you can't let your schedule get so busy that you're neglecting these basic things. That will just make everybody feel worse, and it actually ups the potential of bad stuff happening, because when you're exhausted, when you're starving, when you're stressed, you're not thinking as clearly, and the odds of an accident or just something negligent happening do rise. So in addition to knowing your limits, it is also important to schedule in throughout the day little breaks. And I think this was kind of like one of the traditions I was alluding to earlier. I started working into my schedule during these really busy days time to go do something fun in between visits where I could actually take care of the photos and video clips I send to the client while relaxing. And what I chose to do is go get a foot massage at this little massage place at the mall. You can literally pay them for a half hour. You just sit in this comfortable chair. I had my phone. I could take care of all the between visit stuff, relax, recharge, drink a coffee, and get ready for my next round of visits. And by building in these little treats throughout the day, and granted, you don't want to go overboard, you don't want to be blowing all your money, wasting all your time, it might be something as simple as going to a Starbucks or coffee shop, sitting down, enjoying a drink, and doing your photos and videos there, or just relaxing there. But whatever it is, build in these little treat breaks throughout the day. It's not only something to look forward to, but it helps keep your energy and mood super high. Next thing to just mention briefly is you need a backup plan. This is actually true during non-holiday times too, but especially during holiday times. If something were to go wrong, what is your backup plan? One, if weather prevents you from getting to the home. Driving, practically speaking, is it walking distance? Is there a neighbor backup? Talk about this with the pet parents before the job begins. It is not irresponsible to bring up the possibility. It is actually responsible to address it. Also, another thing with holidays, a lot of vet offices that parents typically rely on might not be open. Do they have a backup veterinarian? What are you to do in an emergency? What if something happens to your vehicle? This actually did happen to me in my first year of pet sitting. I was hit the night before a bunch of holiday jobs started, and I was fortunate in that my family had a car I could borrow. I also had parents that would have definitely lent me their car if it was just like last minute for a day. So I knew that, but had I not had that backup, that would have been extremely stressful because it was totaled. I could not drive it to the jobs. And so you always have to think about what if. Piggybacking on that, another thing that is important to do, clarify with the pet parents the exact times of the job. So I have found that a lot of times people will specify, I want a morning visit, I want an evening visit, I don't really care. But when you talk to them more, you actually learn that that's not quite the whole story. They'll say morning visit, and you might, Meowtel defines that, I believe, as 6 a.m. to 11 a.m., like anywhere in that window. But when the parent says morning, they might be envisioning more like 8 or 9. I mean, they're not like super strict on exactly the minute, but they're thinking something in their head like much closer to what the cat is used to. Clarify all these things because it will help you plan your route. Another thing is they might say anytime and they might actually mean it, but if you learn that like the first day of your visit, they had just left town at noon, you probably want to time it so you're coming later in the day. Conversely, if you learn the last day of your visit, they're not getting back till super late at night, that kind of helps you plan when the best time to visit might be. Anyway, it never hurts to communicate. Communication is a big thing. It does not just apply to the holidays, but it is extra crucial during them. And finally, all busy times and all busy rushes do come to an end. And I think it's extra important after just going through what will feel like a whirlwind to schedule some time on the tail end of that. No jobs, relax, regroup, unwind, and treat yourself. What that looks like will be different for everybody, but I think it is so crucial. It's fairly easy to do too, because most people after a holiday, there isn't like a huge demand for pet sitters, but I do have regular clients that are coming at me because they still have business trips and stuff. And so it is essential to block off a couple of days, I believe, before you pick the pace back up. You don't want to burn out. It is something that has happened to me, and the effect of burning out is not only does what seem typically fun start to really not seem enjoyable, but when you eventually do step away, you tend to stay away a little bit longer than you might have otherwise done. And it just kind of like hurts your business, and it's hard to get back into the swing of things. So that is my take on pet sitting during the holidays. Again, it is one of the most lucrative but also challenging times as a pet sitter. And frankly, I don't think it matters whether you are full-time or part-time here. I think everybody emotionally probably deals with this. Everybody practically deals with this. The only thing that may differ here is what you value. So not everybody is going to weigh the family time the same, and not everybody's family dynamic is the same. I mean, if you have your entire family in the city you live in, and your gathering is just going over to somebody's house for a dinner or a celebration, you're blessed. I have a family that is scattered largely over the United States. My parents live where I do, but all three of my siblings are scattered. And so every year it just presents a logistical challenge that the more I do this, the more I see, parameters need to be set. So neither my family nor my pet sitting business suffers. Anyway, guys, I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I just want to reiterate, I am so thrilled to be able to pet sit as a side hustle. It has been a very wonderful addition to my life, and I say that very sincerely. I started it 3.5 years ago now, not really knowing what to expect. And it has fit in my life in a way that has exceeded my expectations, both financially from a part-time perspective, but also emotionally. And it just makes me so happy. And I think anytime that you can find something that you love that also gives you something back in the in the realm of financial compensation, that's like win. And it is my just joy to share this with you. So anyway, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope that you are having an amazing holiday season. Katniss and I love you all, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.